Ladies, I came here to tell you something today. If you want to attract a quality man, you don't do it by chasing him, begging him, or compromising who you are. A good man, a God-ordained man, is drawn to value. And when you understand your worth, you won't settle for anything less than God's best for you. Can I get an amen? Let me give you 6 secrets that will transform your life and shift the kind of men you attract. If you want to attract a quality man, you must first become a quality woman. Too often, people pray for the perfect partner without taking the time to develop themselves into the kind of person they are asking for. A man who is strong, driven, emotionally mature, and spiritually grounded is looking for a woman who mirrors those qualities. You can't expect to draw in a man of vision while you are still uncertain about your own direction. You can't pray for a leader while refusing to take responsibility for your own growth. The law of attraction is real, not just in the natural world, but in the spiritual world. Like attracts like. If you want a relationship built on faith, integrity, and strength, you must first embody those characteristics yourself. A woman who knows her worth moves differently. She doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't beg for love, she commands respect simply by the way she carries herself. When you understand that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, you will not shrink yourself to fit into a man's life who does not recognize your value. A confident woman does not wait for a man to validate her. She walks in her own God-given identity. And that is what makes her irresistible to the right kind of man. A king is looking for a queen, not just in title, but in how she conducts herself, in how she speaks, in how she thinks. When Ruth met Boaz, she wasn't sitting around hoping for a good man to come rescue her. She was working in her purpose. She was diligent, hardworking, and carrying herself with grace and humility. And it was in that posture that Boaz recognized her value. You don't have to manipulate, chase, or beg for a quality man. When you are walking in purpose, the right man will see you. When you are focused on your assignment, a man who is aligned with your destiny will be drawn to you naturally. Some women are frustrated because they keep attracting men who are emotionally unavailable, immature, or unwilling to commit. But the question is, what energy are you putting out? Are you still operating from a place of brokenness? Are you carrying unresolved wounds that cause you to accept less than you deserve? Healing is a prerequisite for attracting the right kind of love. A whole woman attracts a whole man. When you heal, you shift what you are willing to tolerate. You stop entertaining relationships that drain you. You stop accepting excuses from men who are not ready. You become a magnet for the kind of man who is ready to pour into you, protect you, and build with you. So before you ask God to send you a good man, ask yourself, am I ready to be a good woman to the kind of man I desire? Work on yourself. Elevate your mindset, strengthen your faith. Because the man you are waiting for is also waiting for a woman who is already walking in her greatness. Many people enter relationships carrying wounds from their past, hoping that love will heal them. But a relationship is not a hospital, and a man is not a doctor assigned to mend what was broken before he arrived. If you do not take the time to heal before you build, you will construct your relationships on a foundation of pain, insecurity, and unresolved trauma. What you do not heal, you will project. What you ignore, you will repeat. And what you refuse to address will eventually surface in your interactions, no matter how deeply you try to bury it. Healing is not just about moving on from past relationships. It's about confronting the parts of yourself that still bleed. It's about dealing with the trust issues, the fear of abandonment, the feelings of inadequacy that whisper to you late at night. If you do not heal, even the best man will struggle to love you because you will filter his actions through the lens of your past hurts. A man who is faithful will be accused of being untrustworthy because someone in your past betrayed you. A man who is patient will be seen as uninterested because you are used to men who played games. A man who genuinely cares will feel like he is walking on eggshells because you are expecting him to fail before he even has a chance to prove himself. The issue is not always the men you attract, it's the version of yourself that is attracting them. If you are still wounded, you will gravitate toward relationships that reflect your brokenness. You will tolerate mistreatment because you do not believe you deserve better. You will stay in toxic cycles because dysfunction feels familiar. But when you heal, you shift. You stop craving chaos. You stop excusing bad behavior. You stop settling for relationships that drain you instead of fulfilling you. Healing changes your appetite. It makes you hungry for something healthier, something holier, something real. Before you build a relationship, you must build yourself. Spend time understanding who you are outside of a man. Learn how to be happy in your own company. Discover your purpose, strengthen your faith, and embrace self-love. When you are whole, you will not enter relationships looking for someone to complete you. You will enter knowing that you are already complete, and you will attract a partner who sees you as a complement to his life rather than a burden he has to fix. Healing is a process, but it is necessary. You owe it to yourself to be free from the pain of your past. You owe it to yourself to experience love without fear, without insecurity, without the weight of old wounds. Take the time to do the inner work. Seek counseling, pray, journal, reflect. Do whatever it takes to become the best version of yourself. Because when you heal, you elevate. And when you elevate, the kind of love you attract will rise to meet you. Too often people lower their standards out of fear of being alone, fear of running out of time, fear that no one better will come along. But settling for less than you deserve will never bring you the love you truly desire. You cannot attract a quality man while making excuses for men who refuse to meet your standards. You cannot expect a king while entertaining clowns. A woman who knows her worth does not compromise it just to keep a man around. She understands that lowering her standards does not increase her value, it diminishes it. Your standards are not about being picky, unrealistic, or difficult. They are about setting the foundation for the kind of love you want to experience. A quality man is not intimidated by a woman who holds herself to a high standard. He is drawn to her. It is the insecure, the inconsistent, and the unprepared who will tell you that you are asking for too much. But a man who is ready, a man who is built for you, will recognize and respect what you require because he has done the work to become that kind of man himself. The problem is that many women set standards but do not keep them. They start with firm boundaries, but the moment loneliness creeps in, the moment someone shows them a little attention, they start compromising. They start accepting behavior they once said they wouldn't tolerate. They start making excuses for red flags they would have walked away from before. But listen, if you do not enforce your standards, they are not standards. They are just suggestions. And if you do not respect your own boundaries, how can you expect a man to? A quality man is not looking for a woman who bends to every demand, who tolerates disrespect, or who allows inconsistency. He is looking for a woman who values herself enough to require consistency, integrity, and effort. He is looking for a woman who knows that she is the prize, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that says, I know my worth and I refuse to settle for anything less than what God has for me. When you elevate your standards, you will start to notice a shift. Certain men will fall away, not because you are asking for too much, but because they were never meant to rise to your level. Let them go. Do not chase. Do not lower yourself to keep them. If they were meant to be in your life, they would meet you where you are, not ask you. Keeping your standards means trusting that the right man will not be deterred by them. It means believing that God's timing is better than your impatience. It means knowing that the love you desire is worth waiting for. Because when you refuse to settle, you make room for the man who is willing to meet you at the level you deserve. Desperation is one of the most dangerous positions to be in when seeking a relationship, because it causes you to settle, tolerate mistreatment, and chase after people who were never meant for you. A woman who walks in desperation will compromise her values just to feel wanted. She will cling to relationships that are beneath her worth because she is afraid of being alone. She will accept inconsistency, dishonesty, and emotional unavailability because she believes something is better than nothing. But when you walk in desperation, you attract the wrong kind of attention. The wrong kind of man can sense when a woman is desperate, and he will take advantage of that weakness. He will give you just enough to keep you hoping, but never enough to truly commit. He will offer you breadcrumbs and call it a meal, knowing that you are too afraid to walk away. But when you walk in purpose, everything changes. A woman who is focused on her calling, her growth, and her spiritual journey is not easily swayed by superficial attention. She is too busy building her life to be chasing a man who does not see her value. When you are in alignment with your purpose, the right people will naturally be drawn to you. You won't have to force love, beg for commitment, or settle for less than you deserve. Purpose attracts purpose. When you are walking confidently in the direction God has set for you, the right man will recognize you, not because you were searching for him, but because you were already whole without him. Ruth wasn't chasing Boaz. She was working in the field, focused on her assignment. She wasn't out looking for a man. She was walking in obedience, and Boaz noticed her. He saw her diligence, her character, and her strength, and he pursued her. A man of quality will recognize a woman of purpose. He will not play games with her time or her emotions because he understands her value. A real man is drawn to a woman who is secure in herself, not a woman who is desperately seeking validation. Walking in purpose means refusing to waste your time on anything or anyone that does not align with your destiny. It means setting standards and sticking to them. It means being content in your singleness and trusting that God will bring the right man at the right time. It means focusing on your career, your dreams, your relationship with God, and your personal growth, so that when the right man comes along, you are already whole and ready to build with him. Desperation will have you chasing love, but purpose will position you to receive love. Desperation will have you settling for a counterfeit, but purpose will prepare you for God's best. Stop searching, stop begging, stop worrying about when it will happen. Focus on your purpose, and the right man will find you walking in your destiny, because a man of vision is looking for a woman with vision, not a woman who's lost in desperation. There is a difference between a man who truly pursues you and a man who just wants you. Too many women confuse interest with intention, but they are not the same. A man can want you for the moment for his convenience or to feed his own ego, but that does not mean he is ready to love you, commit to you, or build with you. Just because a man desires you does not mean he values you. Just because he calls you, texts you, or spends time with you does not mean he sees you as his future. You must learn to discern between a man who is pursuing your heart with purpose and a man who is simply enjoying your presence without responsibility. A man who just wants you will be inconsistent. He will come and go, showing up when it suits him, but disappearing when it requires effort. He will keep you in a state of confusion, never making his intentions clear, never giving you a firm commitment, but always keeping you just close enough so that you don't leave. He will do the bare minimum to keep your attention, but he will never invest fully. He may shower you with sweet words, but when it comes time for action, he will always have an excuse. His love will be convenient, his pursuit will be shallow, and his words will lack weight. But a man who is truly pursuing you will make his intentions known. He will not play games, leave you guessing, or make you question where you stand. He will be clear, consistent, and intentional in the way he treats you. He will invest his time, his energy, and his effort into building something real. He will not just want your body, he will want your mind, your heart, and your spirit. He will not just admire you from a distance. He will actively pursue you because he sees you as someone worth building with. A man who just wants you may make you feel special temporarily, but a man who truly pursues you will treat you like a priority, not an option. He will not be afraid of commitment. He will not hesitate to claim you. He will not avoid deep conversations or dodge important discussions about the future. He will step up, take responsibility, and make it clear that he is here for the long haul. The difference between a man who just wants you and a man who is truly pursuing you comes down to one thing: consistency. A man who wants you for the moment will be hot one day and cold the next. A man who is serious about you will be steady, reliable, and unwavering in his pursuit. Stop settling for men who enjoy your presence but have no intention of staying. Stop entertaining men who take from you but never pour into you. The right man will not just want you, he will pursue you with clarity, respect, and commitment. Waiting for love can be one of the hardest things to do, especially when loneliness starts whispering lies in your ear. When you see others getting married, starting families, and stepping into relationships, it can feel like God has forgotten about you. The enemy will try to make you believe that if you don't take matters into your own hands, you will be alone forever. But settling out of impatience will never give you the love you truly deserve. You must learn to trust God's timing, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Loneliness is a powerful emotion, but it is also a dangerous guide. When you make decisions out of loneliness, you lower your standards. You entertain relationships that you know aren't right for you. You stay in situations that drain you, hoping that they will eventually turn into something meaningful. But when you rush ahead of God's plan, you risk building something that He never intended for you. A relationship built on fear of being alone will never bring you true joy. It will only leave you feeling emptier than before. God's timing is not about delay, it is about preparation. He is not withholding love from you, He is preparing you for the kind of love that will last. He knows what you need in a partner, and He is working behind the scenes, aligning the right person at the right time. If God hasn't sent the right man yet, it's not because He has forgotten about you, it's because He is protecting you. He is keeping you from unnecessary heartbreak. He is shaping you into the woman who can handle the blessing He has for you. The waiting season is not a punishment. It is a period of refinement, a time for growth, healing, and deepening your relationship with Him. Too many people settle for less than they deserve because they think time is running out. But listen, God is not bound by human timelines. He does not operate according to societal pressure. Just because you are a certain age or in a certain season of life does not mean you should accept anything less than His best. Sarah thought she was too old for God's promise, but He still blessed her with Isaac. Ruth thought her story was over after losing her husband, but God still brought Boaz into her life. God's promises do not expire. His plans are greater than your impatience. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Use this time to heal, to grow, to discover your purpose. Fall in love with your life before trying to bring someone else into it. Trust that God's plan is better than anything you could create for yourself. When the right man comes, you won't have to force it, beg for it, or compromise yourself to keep it. It will align naturally, beautifully, and divinely because it was orchestrated by God's perfect timing. Ladies, it's time to stop settling. It's time to stop searching for a man and start walking in your divine purpose. A quality man will recognize a quality woman, not because of how much she chases him, but because of how much she values herself. So lift your head, square your shoulders, and walk in the confidence of who you are. Because when you know your worth, the right man will recognize it too. Somebody shout amen.